What up, y'all? Hope everybody is doing well. Sorry for the late post. Just trying to get all these videos. I have everything like ready. I have like the lesson ready. I just don't record. Trying to get everything ready throughout the week, plus working and stuff. It's just been kind of difficult. But yeah, let's get into it. I'm gonna pray over this, and then we're gonna jump right into it. Dear Lord, I thank you for waking me up this morning. I thank you for blessing me with all the blessings that I've been given, the ability to work, the ability to train, the ability to be surrounded by good people, and the ability to have an amazing fiance. Lord, I pray that as I go through this word, that it speaks to whoever needs it, Lord, and that I speak through you and not through my own understanding, but through yours, Lord. Lord, thank you for all that you've blessed me with. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. So, first things first, our first verse today is Titus 2, verses 2, and Titus 2, verses 6 through 8. So, they're kind of combined. So, let's jump right into it. It says in Titus chapter 2, verse 2, older men are to be self-controlled, worthy of respect, sensible, and sound in faith, love, and endurance. And then we jump to verses 6 through 8. It also says, in the same way, encourage the young men to be self-controlled. In everything, make yourself an example of good works with integrity and dignity. In your teaching, your message, it is to be sound beyond reproach, so that any opponent will be ashamed because he doesn't have anything bad to say about us. So what I take away from this is that it's talking to both older men and younger men. They're supposed to be upright and be men of integrity, be good men. You know, there's not a whole lot to it. So that way, that when we go to defend our faith, like we're talking to an atheist or a person that comes with stuff against us, or comes with stuff against our faith, that they may not have stuff against us, because we want to be able to represent Jesus and represent God in the best way possible. That way, people don't have the ability to slander us. Now, obviously, we're human. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to fall. We're going to mess up. We're going to do things we shouldn't. But we should always be trying to put on a good representation of what God is and what Jesus is. And that way, nobody will be turned away from that, and also won't have the ability to slander us and say, well, this guy is this horrible person for doing this. We don't want them to have them atheists or people that don't believe in the faith to come against us with that. And our next verse is Proverbs 14, verse 23. In all toil there is profit, but mere talk tends only to poverty. So what this is saying is, be a man of your word, but also be a man of action. Don't just talk and not commit to what you're saying. When you say something, do it. When you commit to your words, don't just be a man of all talk. Walk the walk. Don't just talk the talk. If you're going to say something, you better do it, because in the Bible it says, in all toil there is profit, but mere talk tends only to poverty. So don't be a man of just talking. Be a man who puts in the work, puts in the effort. And like I said, like all this stuff that I'm guilty of, like there's stuff in here that I mess up on all the time. Like sorry, that's my alarm. Forgive me for that. I mess up on things all the time. So I'm not coming from like this self-righteous place of I'm always walking the walk. There are times where I talk more than I should. Actually, it's probably things I need to work on, is keeping my mouth shut and listening more. But like it says, be a man of action. Don't be a man of just talk. And then I have two more verses that kind of contrast each other, and I want to get into them because people might use this as a contradictory, but it's not. In Psalms 144, verse 1, it says, blessed be the Lord who trains my hands for war and my fingers for battle. And then if you go into Proverbs chapter 16, verses 32, it says, better a patient person than a warrior, one with self-control rather than a one who takes a city. So the contrast for this is that blessed be the Lord who trains my hands for war and my fingers for battle. It's not just a physical battle. There is spiritual warfare going on. There's things we have to be able to fight against in this world spiritually and be able to reject. Like there's always being come up with temptation and whatnot. So we have to be able to fight against this. So being in the Word trains us on how to fight against that temptation and, have a chance against it. Not through our own power, but through the Lord. But also, I would like to say that we should defend people who need to be defended. Like when it comes in this verse, it says one who takes a city, as in like grasps away from somebody else. We're not taking things when we're defending someone. We're defending somebody who needs it. So I think like with mixed martial arts, say I'm on the street and this is just some random scenario that might never happen to me, but I see a lady who is, getting attacked, I'm not just going to stand there because, oh, I'm a Christian, I choose peace, blah, blah. I'm going to do something and stand up for the person who needs it. I'm not going to kill somebody, but I'm not going to let somebody hurt on somebody or beat up somebody. I'm going to stand up for what is right and what is justice. Like you need to, as a Christian, a lot of Christians mix up being I guess the word is controlled and being weak. There's a difference between controlled and being weak. If you're choosing every day to just, I'm going to be peaceful, I'm going to not get in any conflict, blah, 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 that's weakness. That's not peace. There's a difference between being controlled and being weak. Being controlled is having the ability to defend somebody who needs to be defended, like a person in need who's being attacked, and defending them, not out of violence, but out of, justice, and wanting to defend that person who can't defend themselves. That doesn't mean you get to go around like being like Batman and beating up people. It means like if you see something, you have the ability to take action against it. On contrast is using that strength that you have, or that ability you have to hurt others purposely for no reason, getting into street fights, getting into brawls, instigating stuff. That is wrong. That is not what we want to be doing as believers. We want to have the ability to defend people that need it, but we don't want to use that ability to just commit acts of violence because we want to commit acts of violence. That's my takeaway from this. Having the ability to defend somebody compared to just saying, oh, I'm going to be peaceful and weak. Like that's not, there's a difference between being controlled and weak. So, and people will often use, oh, I'm peaceful. No. Literally, Peter was, I don't want to say this wrong. I'm pretty sure Peter was told to he was told to go buy a sword. But then later on, out of violence, Peter commits acts of violence against the servant and cut off his ear, and God said no, because that wasn't in God's plan. So there's a time for action when it comes to physical prowess and the ability to defend somebody, and there's a time for, trying to talk it out. If you see somebody getting beat up on the street, just getting jumped, that's probably not the time to be like, hey guys, let's all chill out here. That's not going to work. Okay? So you have to be able to defend people that need it, but also be able to de-escalate situations with, words. Better a patient person, being patient, using it as a last resort, like using your ability to fight or your ability to have that physical prowess as a last resort, always trying to de-escalate rather than escalate, and only when it comes to extreme measures use that capability. And that's what I really don't like. I see a lot of this nowadays is just weak Christians, like people that have like let their bodies go or don't train or like, what are you going to do when if your wife or children gets attacked? How are you going to defend your home? Like there is a point to where you need to be able to stand up for something, like your family or your children or somebody that might just be out on the street getting attacked. Like this is the world we live in. People get beat up and jumped and shot all the time. We have to be able to defend those people. And I see way too much of this stuff on social media, like being a peaceful Christian, this, and that. Yes, we are called to peace, but we are also called to defend the needy and the weak. And that's what I think. That's what I take away from this. These two verses in contrast. Better a patient person than a warrior who takes a city, or better a patient person wait, oh my goodness, my brain. Better a patient person than a warrior, one with self-control rather than one who takes a city. That's the verse. That's Proverbs 16:32. Last resort. We want to have patience. We want to have self-control. We're not using it for our own gain. We're not using it because we love violence. We're using it as a last resort. Also in Psalms, blessed be the Lord who trains my hands for war and my fingers for battle. That isn't just physical, that's also spiritual, but in a way it is also physical. We need to be able to defend people. As Christians, we need to be able to stand up for what is right. If we can't do that, then what are we doing? And that's what I take away from this. So kind of like how I do MMA. I don't do it because I love to beat people up. I do it because, one, I want to become a champion one day and say I got there because of Jesus. But also, if me and my fiance are walking out on the street and somebody starts to like try to attack her, what am I? If I don't train and don't prepare myself for that, what am I going to do? Am I just going to stand there and run away, or am I going to be like, hey, dude, don't attack my fiance as he's, this is not. It just shouldn't be how it is. We should be able to defend our family, our friends, our loved ones, but also have self-control not to let, violence take over and, go kill somebody. Like I said, last resort. Anyways, that is those couple verses today of Being a Godly Man Part 2. That's kind of the key takeaways I take away from some of these verses. And in contrast, the verse from Psalms that we went over and the verse from Proverbs that we went over that contrast, and then the other verse from Proverbs that be a man of your word, or no, not be a man of action, not just talk. And then the verses in Titus, how it says, old and young men, be a man of integrity, be good men. And those are the verses for today. I am going to do a part 3 to this series because I want to go over marriage because I'm getting married soon. So I definitely need to, get in the word for that. I hope you're all having a blessed day. I'm not the greatest of talkers. I'm not good at talking in a camera. I'm good at talking to people. Sometimes I talk too much. I need to keep my mouth shut more often nowadays. But what's it called? If I have anything to improve on, if there's anything that I'm getting wrong that you want to question me on, feel free. If there's any topics you want me to cover and go over through it biblically, let me know. I hope you're all having a blessed day. Peace.